All right, guys, welcome back. So listen, I've been noticing something extremely cool, right? So not only do I believe that Christianity is becoming extremely more popular now, after this whole wokeness situation took place, thankfully, but it's getting to the point now where we are, they're obviously making animated movies like The King of Kings, which is really good for the kids. I went to go see it with my daughter. She absolutely loved it. She's 5. Hey, I love the movie. I highly recommend it. But with that being said, the fact that I'm scrolling through my feed and I see someone like GodLogic getting on actual CBN News and them actually caring about what someone like GodLogic has to say about Christianity, I think that's a huge step in the right direction on getting the publicity that we need. As far as getting the coverage that someone like GodLogic deserves, because he's one of the OGs out here doing, apologetics and things like that. Honestly, before I became a Christian, I started watching him, GodLogic, and I also started watching Cliff as well. Those were my two go-tos before I became an actual Christian. But enough of me ranting. I want to show you guys what came across my feed, and it really stuck out to me. The fact that this is getting media coverage, and not just like YouTube media. I'm talking about like news. So that to me is a big deal. So let me go ahead and put this up for you guys here. All right, let's go ahead and play that.
Of GodLogic apologetics. Now, Avery,
Yes,
you're kind of one of the most vocal critics of Islam, which is not necessarily an easy place to be. Well, let's say my friend here clicked on this video, they saw you, and they don't want the fluff, they don't want the niceties, they just want the truth. So let's just give it to them. Why is Islam false and Christianity true?
Okay, so one, I would say that Christianity, let me start with Christianity. Christianity is true because of the evidence of the resurrection of Christ. The Bible says that if Christ didn't rise from the dead, our faith would literally be in vain. There'll be nothing. Well, guess what? There's an empty tomb. We know where Jesus was buried, and it's empty. And a bunch of people saw him alive again. A bunch of cowards became courageous and started preaching the gospel, claiming that they saw this Jesus, who we all saw got crucified. So that's how we know that Christianity is true. The previous prophets foretold about this crucifixion and resurrection, and then we saw it happen in history. Now, Islam is false because it goes against that reality, right? It goes against truth, while at the same time saying that it affirms it.
Now, I will say this, I guess the topic at hand was, why is Christianity true? But, I see a lot of comments in my comment section on supposedly why can't we just talk about Christianity without talking about how negative Islam is. And I'll be honest with you, when something is evil and corrupt, what do you think we're going to do? We're going to try to expose it every chance we get. So the fact that he on national television basically tries to expose Islam, aside from the fact that he's trying to prove Christianity is real, I commend him for that. I like it. I have no complaints. Carry on.
So it says that the Torah is true. The gospel is true. As a matter of fact, you need to go, if you have doubt about the Quran, go and ask the people who've been reading the scripture before you. But when I do that, I see that Christ is Lord. I see that Christ was crucified. I see that Christ rose again on the third day. All that goes against Islam, so it's a double-edged sword. It affirms a book that it contradicts, which means Islam is false. Now, if our book is false, Islam is still false because it confirms something that I guess would be false. So
let's say my friend here comes from Islamic background, and I think for a lot of folks that do come from that, it's more of an honor thing. Even if they see the validity in your argument, it's like, but man, like for example, to go from Hindu to Christianity, whatever, who cares? But to go from Islam to recognizing Yeshua as a son of God, you are slamming the door on your family. You are slamming the door on your culture. So the question is, how does someone even start that conversation of like, okay, what if Jesus is who he said he was? What if he did rise from the grave? What would be the first couple steps you would hope people, again, compassionately, where should people look? Where should people go if they're struggling with this?
So one thing that I guess you can have a common ground with Muslims is they pride themselves on being in line with prophets and having a consistent message, right? And so they say, we believe in all the prophets. All the prophets taught one God, one after another, one God, right? And so what you can do as a Christian is, okay, I see that you have a zeal for consistency with the prophets. Let's see what they actually said. And see, what we see is we have the consistent line of prophets telling us of this son who's going to come, this Messiah who's going to come and give his life as a ransom, who's the Lord himself coming in the flesh. If you can get that common ground with the Muslim and say, let's actually see what they taught, and you show them, demonstrate to them, from the prophet's mouth, from Moses, from Zechariah, from Isaiah, show them that they taught that the Messiah was going to come and give his life as a ransom and rise again in authority. They, it's either they go two ways. Either they reject it and say, well, what you have is corrupted, or they're like, yeah, dang. I gotta consider that.
So here's the question. If you reject Christianity, if you criticize Christianity, no one cares. They'll give you a platform. But dang, if you start criticizing Islam,
you cancel.
You're gonna need security. There's someone who's gonna be at the square.
This is 100% accurate. You can bash Christianity all you want. Nothing's gonna happen. But the minute you bash Islam, man, this is where your comment section gets flooded with negativity. You guys can see that for yourselves.
We're at the Bless God conference here in Carlsbad, California. Woo. There are people here, let's just say their names. Like some people like a David Wood. He needs security to have the audacity just to criticize Islam. Why is that? Why can you lambaste and just get after Christianity? But the second you start pointing out the inconsistencies in the Quran and the Hadith and the teachings of Muhammad, you have to risk your life.
It's two things, and you mentioned something earlier. You talked about it's honoring, right? Islam has this view, this culture view. It's not about intellectual honesty and integrity. It's about dominating. It's about looking strong. It's about being the big bad. Don't mess with us. So if a Muslim lose, like if they come to Christianity, or if it's being criticized in any way, you're attacking that image. It's an image of Islam that you're getting at. And so now it's in this culture where Islam or Muslim people are seen as like a victim group, kind of like the LGBT, right? They even came up with their word Islamophobia. You got homophobia, now you got Islamophobia, right? And so any type of criticism, you'll be labeled an Islamophobe, someone who just hates Muslims if you say, I disagree with Islam. And so with Christianity, it's the opposite. In Islam, you have it teaching, hey, if they disagree with the Prophet and Allah, go and kill them, right? Go and fight those who don't believe in Allah or the messenger, right? And you're not supposed to have any resistance against what the messenger teaches. In Christianity, it's different. We get Jesus who says, bless those who persecute you.
Oh, so good.
You got Jesus who says, if you're persecuted for my name's sake, don't fret, but actually be.
Mind you, by any means, it's not something easy that you can do. It's a lot easier said than done. Let's just make sure we get that out of the way.
Be blessed because they did it to me first, and they did it to the prophets before you, right? So it's a completely different. We have a carnal versus holiness image here.
Yeshua is so good. Bless those who persecute you. Pray for those who mistreat you.
Exactly. Bless those and pray for those who curse you.
It's so good.
And it's crazy how Jesus puts it, man. When he's doing his Sermon on the Mount and he's teaching, he's like, greet those, even your enemies. He's like, anybody can greet anybody who greets them. Anybody can say hi and greet in peace and give a peace greeting to your brother. Even the pagans do that. Are you no different than the pagans? No. Our Father calls us to be perfect. Love perfectly. Right? So
in the Islamic world, Jesus is appearing to a lot of people in dreams. The church in Iran is exploding. But here's the question. At that same time, there's a lot of people in the Islamic world that are having these existential crises, and they say, you know what? Maybe there just is no God. So here's the question. Let's say my friend clicked on this video. And this is a common thing, but it comes with all sincerity. When you have those moments where you've been raised in a Christian household, you've been raised in an Islamic household, and you're like, is there even a God? What do you do with that?
Well, you look. Romans 1 just tells us, look, man, look around you. Everything that we see speaks to the glory of God. I mean, you literally have to fight your common sense to come to the conclusion that there is no God. You have to think yourself out of the existence of God, right? Instead of, you don't have to think yourself into it. We just know. You have to think yourself out of the existence of God. But just think of it logically. When you look around, could this have come from out of nothing?
Nothing.
For no reason. And we understand, and this is like basic principles, whatever begins to exist has a cause.
Yeah.
Universe, time, space, matter, it began to exist.
Right.
Time has a cause,
Yeah.
which means he has to be eternal.
Yeah.
Matter has a cause, which means that whoever caused it is immaterial,
Yeah.
right? He's spiritual.
Yeah.
Energy and space.
Yeah.
He's not limited to space, and he's all powerful.
Yeah.
And he had the intention to create you and me, beings with choice and personality
Yep.
and relations.
Yep.
So the existence of God is, it's a no-brainer.
And the thing I love about Yeshua, as opposed to what you might find in the Quran, is I have called you friends.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
He's so good.
Not just that though, but also even like a lot of us focus on the New Testament. In the Old Testament, we have Yahweh who literally says, "Come, let's reason together."
Yeah.
You're not allowed to do that in Islam. Literally, you have a verse in the Quran where it tells you, if you're questioning, do not question because it may cause you to leave the religion. So don't do the questioning.
And what is, I think it's Jude 1, 23, 22, where it says basically, have mercy.
Yeah.
Have mercy on those who doubt.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's so
Exactly.
good. I'm getting goosebumps. I am so thankful that you're.
Anyways, what do you guys think? Do you guys think this is good for Christianity, or do you guys think this is just gonna basically steer more people away, stray more people away, just because now they're gonna come up with something like, "Oh, Christianity now is getting all this popularity. Now they're trying to throw it down our throats." So I think it's a good thing, especially a guy like GodLogic, which. He's like I said before, he's the OG when it comes to stuff like this. But that's just my 2 cents. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.